Kia ora and welcome to the first episode of Whakarongo, the podcast representing the voices of thousands of rangatahi in state care. My name is Celine, and after marching to Parliament last year calling on the government to uphold 6 promises relating to our basic rights, this year we're talking to the young people affected by those promises being broken. The first is a promise made to Celine George.
You promised to help me learn about my whakapapa.
As a young Māori growing up in care, Celine should have been able to connect with her whakapapa. But as she moved through both whānau and non-whānau placements, she wasn't given access to the culture she craved. She's now on a journey to rediscover her whakapapa, and as a mother has made it a priority while raising her beautiful son Mason. Kia ora, Celine. Firstly, thank you so much for sharing your story with us. I wanted to start off by asking about what your experience was like in care.
My care experience started since birth. The OT had involvement with my family prenatal, while also being involved with some of my older siblings. There were 2 different occasions where they had interventions. The involvement where I was put in placements with my sister up until about 5 years old from birth, and then involvement again around when I was about 11, 12 years old for a couple of years.
So you were both placed with your whānau and then not placed with your whānau. For you looking back, like which one do you think for you was better?
From the experiences I went through in the placements, I probably would have said whānau definitely, without a doubt. Sort of makes sense in regards to early intervention and thinking of the way the infant and toddler brain grows. Like obviously there was a disconnected maternal type traits and things that I obviously needed growing up.
So you thought that you in your experience, in your placements, your whānau placements maybe provided more of what you needed?
Oh, definitely, without a doubt.
Yeah. So what do you think the non-whānau placements, like what was lacking from them?
Awareness. There was a lack of, I think, compatibility. There was a lack of screening in regards to safety. Don't get me started.
No, because you did get placed with caregivers who weren't screened, right?
Yeah.
And then it was found that they weren't safe.
Yeah. It wasn't until actually recently that I actually found out that our last placement was one of the worst placements, and they were to allow children after having us moving forward. So that was quite...
But you were just placed with them without them being properly screened, right?
Yeah, from what I was aware of, it was quite a blow.
So your non-whānau placements, were any of them Māori or were they all Pākehā?
There were some Māori, a lot of Pākehā-Māori relationship, but they were predominantly Pākehā-led.
I only asked because of all of this kōrero that's come up around 7AA, and I think it's now more than ever the conversation has gone towards young people or tamariki Māori, the importance of staying connected to te ao Māori, and which I think has always been important, but for me it seems like it's only just joined the conversation in the Pākehā world recently. Yeah. So for those placements you had where they were Pākehā caregivers, were there things that they did or helped you stay connected to your Māori ancestry?
Not from what I can remember, to be quite honest. The encounters that I did have and the placements I were put in were quite high risk. Mm-hmm. So I guess at the time, Māori tikanga, Māori kawa, or Māori ways in any way wasn't really considered important or necessary at the time.
So they were more focused on just placing you somewhere.
Oh, definitely, without a doubt. There was a lot of discrepancies between both the caregivers, OT, and myself. So I kind of saw it like a triad almost.
Yeah. And what do you think that impact for you then was, being in placements where you weren't exposed to your whakapapa or your culture?
It severed the disconnection even more.
Yeah.
It made more of an impact regardless of the age, whether in a placement of any sort. We all, to an extent, experience disconnection throughout our placements, throughout entering state care to begin with. And it was the caregiver's responsibility in regards to upholding not only ourselves but the culture and the family that we've come from moving forward.
Were you ever able to learn te reo Māori or be exposed to anything like kapa haka? I'm just thinking of like, there's such rich culture in Te Ao Māori, and like anything, did you have any connection to who you came from?
Yeah, not during care. There was always just such a big disconnect, sorry. All of that involvement really like began once I started high school. Primary school, sorry.
Yeah.
I jumped at every opportunity. Like I was always whakama about pepeha and stuff like that. But I always jumped at every opportunity. I was next to the kai and kapa haka back in primary, so good singer.
I love it.
But no, I was always curious growing up, always curious. I never really got those opportunities growing up, though I was quite young. Either way, that's no excuse. There could have been some sort of integration there. But I just, carried on staying curious and open, I guess.
So you wanted to do it. You were like in school doing things like kapa haka to be involved, but nothing from like caregiver side of things to help.
No, unfortunately.
Just such a shame, because like knowing you now and like this, you've been on a whakapapa rediscovery journey. You have stayed curious, which I love. So do you want to tell us a little bit about like what made you want to go on that whole journey of rediscovering your whakapapa?
Not knowing who I was.
Oof.
Yeah. Not knowing
hits me in the feels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know who I was. I remember leaving care and only hearing stories of my mother growing up and things like that. I remember like taking the landline and having the yellow pages and calling up the courts and saying, "Hi, I only know my mum's first and last name, but can you help me find her?" Like, yeah, I know. Oh, the local courthouse.
They're probably like, who's this child?
I know. But
okay, that's like, yeah, I think it's so.
I laugh about it now, but I'm like, oh, you poor soul. Like, I was just like, I remember running down to the end of the driveway, away from like anyone who could hear me, just so secretive, like, feeling as though I had to embark on something like that, approach something that way was even quite eye-opening for me.
We're both not the first generation to be in care in Whāngai. So my granddad, when I was in care, just a little personal thing, he didn't know that I was in care till it was like a little bit too late, because the disconnect of living here in Aotearoa and him being in Ireland. And I remember he said to me last time I was over, like, I just wish that I had known how bad things were, and I wish you could have lived with me, because he was in he was adopted, my mum was in care, and then I was in care, and I think he has recognised that he wishes he had been able to step in. And so for me, like, thinking around that, what would have happened or how different things would have been if I'd stayed connected to my culture, so being in Ireland, and to think of that being fulfilled is actually too painful.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I have to live with the reality that it wasn't, like it's painful to realize like my life didn't work out the way it should have, and that the pain I carry, I actually can't think about it too much. And it is painful.
And I think I'm at like a point in my life where I grew up so angry at the world and at my family that were around, that I really thought I knew, but I didn't.
Yeah.
And then nowadays I think of the mahi taken personally to get myself where I am today, but also my dad being a father of a care experienced child and the mama that he went through, and that being racially discriminated, racially profiled, stereotyped, and wrongly accused of things that are going to be with him forever. But the difference being between me and him is he's gotten into his age and his strength is starting to wear off, and he's done his dash throughout his life for the things that he was dedicated to. And I salute him for that, regardless of the funny relationship we had growing up. But I know now that I'm slowly able to make a lot more peace with that because I understand it all now.
Yeah. We could have like multiple episodes talking about generational.
We really could. We really could.
Do you want to talk a little bit about that? I think, especially in New Zealand, because we are a colonized country, when you've had colonization in your country, we do see the impacts of colonization through intergenerational trauma, and so many of our Māori whānau, because of that trauma, have generations of state intervention, wanted or unwanted.
Yeah.
And like for you and your whānau, like how has that impacted you guys?
Oh, it's a big one. I am a first generation care experience.
Nice.
But I am in 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th generation colonized.
Yes.
In a way.
I thought your dad had some experience with the state.
Whāngai.
Oh, so he is technically
to an extent.
But the ideal care experience, in my opinion.
Yes, I agree. There's a lot of layers that come along with this mamae. With me being the first generation care experience, that has only added, in my opinion, another layer of mamae, another layer of trauma and disconnect to our whānau, comparing to what we already have to carry as a whole. There are generations of disconnect, not only through state care but through colonisation also. We can go as far as, the hikois that have reincarnated themselves over the years, and the way that the kaupapa in between the lines are still the same, not one more acre, land back. But growing up, it's been very surreal actually coming to the awareness of the extent of trauma within my family intergenerationally. Yeah, so there's a lot of mamae and trauma that has come from the colonisation within our whānau Māori katoa, but also within the state care, it just adds to it. And with me being the first generation care experience, there's been a lot of responsibility in regards to me being able to articulate this to my whānau to give them understanding. But also there's been a whole nother journey in regards to understanding them and the way that they roll due to the generations of trauma. I am one of few in my whānau that have chosen to take a path like this in order to kōrero, that shame and that guilt and that trauma extends through generations, and I see the way that it's reincarnated itself leading up to myself now. I consider myself like the first, there's the first to do this in the family and first to do that. And at the end of the day, like I've gotten to a point in my life where I've been able to not only understand and heal myself and take myself through those motions of understanding what it is I went through and what my family went through.
Well, I do just want to say, like, you have got all of these like generations of mamae and trauma and stuff in your whānau, but from an outside perspective, I don't know your whānau, but I know you, and it feels like, especially your journey with your son, you have been like the one to be like, it's stopping with you, and like I feel like you carry a lot of strength and power in how you carry yourself as a person, and also as a mama. Like you are stopping it so your son doesn't face some of those same generational.
Yeah, I've had to stay toe. I've had to keep calm, collected, and be strategic about the way that I do things, the way I carry myself and the way I carry my family moving forward, because we've been through so much, both as a whāngai and as a people. I'm at an age now where my father's generation have done their dash to us. They've done their part, and it's time for us to start taking up that and start figuring out where to from here in this day and age. With the resources and powers that we do have within our people, I think it's very important. Also, there's a certain type of strength that entails you being able to do this. You know, I have my good days and my bad days. Some days are heavier than others. But at the end of the day, I stay reminded in the fact that this is generations of hurt. And it's not mine to carry, nor is it my family's. It's actually the colonizers to carry.
Like for little Celine, if you think of little Celine in that placement, like how does that make you feel knowing how disconnected she is?
Hopeful that she has the strength to continue on, which has sort of led me here today. So both acknowledging her and little Celine, because they both encompass each other in regards to who I am today.
I just think that like little Celine went through so much.
Yeah, she was a very angry little girl, very sad little girl, very lost little girl. And at the end of the day, it's easy to point the blame, but growing older, I realised that there were a lot more. It was about a lot more than just me. It was about a lot more than just my dad. It was about a lot more than just my mother. And this is exactly why I'm here today, because I don't think it's talked about enough. At the end of the day, we were born into or put into situations where we just weren't being given what we deserved. And whoever was in charge of actually giving that, at the end of the day, you can't blame them, because look at what they've come from. So it's just basically like a domino effect, really. I think there's a lot of education that needs to be put in regards to the tikanga, in regards to te reo Māori, and even throughout our society. I'm just blagging on it.
You can come by. Do they go tolo? Do you want to come onto the YouTube video and say hi? Yeah, we've got a guest star.
Come say hi.
You can come in. This is Mason. This is our guest that's been making little noises in the background.
Hi.
He wants to be a YouTube star.
Kia ora. Do you do a pikana?
No. Bit shy now. It's actually the real Spider-Man.
Thanks for appearing.
Yeah, thank you for coming on our episode. Is there anything you want to say?
Say to that camera, you promised. Oh, wait. Yeah, so up here on mum so that you're in the angle. You promised to help me learn my whakapapa.
Do you know your whakapapa? No, you do. Your mum's been teaching you.
Yeah. Got all our photos in our whare of our tupuna. And what do we do every morning and every night?
Say goodnight.
Yeah.
Oh, you say goodnight to your tupuna?
Yeah, say pōmare.
Pōmare.
Yeah. Say kakite. Kakite whānau.
Ngā Hiriwa Tai Tin works with VOYCE Whakarongo mai as our pōtikanga, cultural advisor, and didn't know she was care experience herself for the majority of her life.
Kia ora, tēnā koe. Ko Ngā Hiriwa toku ingoa. Nā o ka kaumātua hau e whakapakeke. Ki runga i toku marae o mahu. So I was born by my mother, obviously, and raised by my grandparents. My mother was only 17. My auntie used to look after me when I was little with my mum. She'd go to work during the day. I'd be with my auntie and then go back to her when she finishes work. But there was a tangi at home back in Hawke's Bay. We were in Wellington at the time. In Hawke's Bay, my auntie took me to the tangi, like you do. Go to the tangi. And my grandfather saw me leave her here.
Oh.
Yeah. And that was it.
Do you know if he had a reason?
Well, obviously, if I'm with my auntie and not with my mother.
Right.
Yeah. I must say it's caused a lot of trauma to my mother over these years, which she's still dealing with. But that's okay.
You were living with your mum?
As a baby.
And then how old were you when you went to that tangi?
I think I may have been about 3 months old.
So your mum lets her baby go to the tangi with her sister and her sister returns without
no
her baby.
I'm not sure
Yeah.
what conversations happened after
Oh, I imagine it would have been quite painful. She's 17.
that.
But so from the moment that you were then with your grandparents, what was your contact like with your mum?
She would come home every now and then. My first memory, I was about 3. She had married my stepfather, been to Tonga, came home for a holiday, summertime, of course.
Yeah.
Came home, I can't remember how long for, but I remember the photos. We had photos.
Yeah.
I remember them leaving to go back to Auckland, and we had this couch that used to be on our porch. I remember while being at VOYCE, that exact moment, the beginning of my trauma. Sitting on this couch crying, "Mummy, mummy, mummy, mummy."
Like as she's leaving.
As she's leaving.
Oh, that's so
As she's gone, I think I must have cried the whole night.
That's so tough. And tough for her as well. Like,
Oh, no doubt.
yeah.
No doubt.
So you obviously knew that she was your mum and that you were living with your grandparents.
Yeah.
And so as you're going through childhood, like you just think that this is a normal situation or
Normal.
yeah?
Yeah, normal. So I have a auntie who's the baby of the family. She's 4 months younger than me. So we were very much brought up, both suckling on my nanny's bosoms, not understanding the concept at the time. But, there was...
Because you were 3 months.
Yeah.
And she would have, had a baby. Was your auntie older than you?
She's younger. By 4 months.
So she's like a month later, she's born.
Yeah. And so I don't know any different.
Yeah.
There were 3 of us, so another cousin who's younger than us, but he was brought up with his parents, my uncle and auntie. But there was 3 of us, 3 younger ones.
It was
It's just normal. Normal for me.
And I guess, so you would call that whāngai.
Yeah.
And whāngai is, I don't want to be telling you what it is because you are the expert, but for those who don't know, do you just want to explain what whāngai, what that concept is and where it comes from or what it means?
Okay, so back in the day, back in the raha, they say, it was normal. So I sort of broke it down in my own little research, what this was normal. So the grandparents would be at home, Nanny will be making the kai, Nanny will be sitting there weaving, whatever that is. And the mukpuna are just running around, all the kids just walking around. While the parents are out working in the garden, they're gone hunting, gone fishing. So that age group, they were the ones who always get providing the food. And the nannies and the koros would be making sure that everyone's, happy, fed, all of that sort of thing. So that's whāngai. And it wasn't until, I'm not sure if it's the 70s, they actually legislated it. So my nanny, I remember her receiving a family benefit, and we'd look forward to getting the family benefit, something like $12 or something. But we'd look forward to, yay, we get the chicken and go to the shop.
Yeah.
Sort of fill the cupboards with our $12.
Yeah. $12 would have been, not a lot, but more than
easily like a couple of $100 nowadays.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not
Easily.
$12 in nowadays pay.
Kind of could barely get 2 coffees.
Barely.
But back in those days, you could fill a trolley.
Yeah.
So whāngai for me is being groomed, being supported, being surrounded by whānau. Whether they're your grandparents, whether they're your aunties or your uncles. Somebody from your immediate family, which could be, your aunt, your mum's cousin's cousin, because they're still immediate as far as Māori see. Yeah, somebody who's of blood.
So it's kind of tricky because I guess you didn't have a situation where your mum necessarily couldn't look after you, because it's not like she gave you up or asked for help. You were kind of taken. But no shade to your grandfather.
Yeah. No.
But so with that concept of whāngai, what do you see the benefits for Māori or tamariki Māori being around staying in their whānau if they have to be in care?
Initially, whakapapa, your ties to your whenua. So my example, I was brought up on my marae. A lot of marae, rural marae, the kids are just running around doing their do's. Where you don't be noisy, where you don't play, if there's a kaupapa, pōwhiri, whatever it is. that you don't play in front of the wharenui, all of these things. So if I was to be brought up with my mother in Wellington, I may have had some understanding at home because I know my uncles are very strong at teaching, and I have very strong cousins who were brought up in Wellington. So no shade on them either. But for me, what makes me feel more connected is my name. So my name comes from a nanny who brought my grandfather up, but she's infamous. Infamous is probably the word I would use. She's infamous from home, and we have a road that's named Ngā Hiriwa Place. Nice. You know, so those connections with my whenua and my marae would not be anywhere as strong as they are if I was brought up, say, in Wellington. Yeah. I would still have a understanding and an appreciation, but, you know, so I have this thing, if you can't go home and scrub your toilets, you don't love your marae. If you're not picking up rubbish and on your knees, bleeding, you don't love your marae. And I would be the first one to role model that.
Yeah.
So, for example, we took a group from our kura. I used to work at a school, well, a few schools, but one of our schools. We took some students home, and I said, we don't use a vacuum here. We get on our knees and we pick up the rubbish. This is a sign of love for your marae. So that's something that I'm proud of.
Yeah.
And I know that it would be very different if I didn't have that experience growing up with my parents.
I do want to talk about, like, you didn't actually always know that you were care experienced. So tell me about, like, what it was like finding that out and how you found it out.
My first week it was Whakarongo Mohe.
Yes.
Oh, my goodness. I think we were preparing to go to Wellington to the Six Promises protest. I can't remember the exact moment, but I'm like, yeah, I grew up with my grandparents.
Yeah.
And I'm like, my care experienced.
Yeah. Yeah, you are.
Because it's just foreign.
Yeah.
The term to me is foreign as well, but it's like, and then the following week it was, oh, I've got trauma.
Yeah.
You know, so all these things that are coming up, but I still feel like my whole career has been about being at Voice today. And with my own personal journey, my understanding of how fortunate I am, and being able to come to this whare and being able to help our babies. Because I know there's so many of us out there who have no idea on how to even reach out.
Yeah, I love having another care experienced auntie at work. It's so cool. I do just want to say, because a lot of young people who are living with their grandparents don't always know that they're care experienced either. So I do just want to say, if you're a young person, you're living with your auntie or your uncle or cousin or grandparents or whoever it is that's in your blood family, you're also care experienced, so you're entitled to the support that kids in care get. If there are young people listening who don't know their whakapapa, don't know where to begin on how to start that journey, like, what would you say to them?
I would suggest you go to the local Māori family, the local marae. Look on Google if you know from what region you're from, because there's a big Māori maps now where most of the marae are connected on that website. Yeah, but just go to your local Māoris. Some of them will find it hard, but they can pass you through to the next person, And if there's no one there, come to me.
Yeah, because you will help our care experts, young people, find their whakapapa. That's part of your role.
That's
voice,
part of my role, yes.
Yeah, so if you are listening or watching and you do want to start that journey, reach out to us on social media, because I could put you in contact with Ngā Hiriwa, which is so cool, because I have memories of being at Summit when we went to Parliament, and we stayed at the marae down there, and for one of and it was Seline actually who was on the episode earlier, realizing that she had whakapapa to that marae.
Yes.
And like the power and seeing her mamai of like coming home. Yeah. And like so powerful.
That was my first experience to take somebody home.
Yeah.
And it was just out of nowhere, because we know how we took our bags across the road. And then she saw the photo. That's my koro. That's my papa. I'm like, okay, you're coming with me.
Yeah.
They're going first.
So powerful, hey?
I felt that for her. I felt the whare embrace her.
For those who don't know their whakapapa and are feeling that pain, who are like in care or care experience, like what would you say to them?
Be strong, because where you are at the moment will take you into your future, and you'll become a stronger person than you actually realise. I don't know if I do know. I do know I would not be the person I am today if it wasn't for my grandparents. So you have a huge journey in front of you, but it's going to be an amazing one.
Are you about to tangi?
Yes.
Oh. That's okay. What are you feeling?
Just remembering. Yeah, and where I am.
Yeah, that's pain.
Yeah.
I think that you can't be touched by the care system, or not even the system for you, hey, like by not living with your birth parents and not be touched by pain.
Yeah. I think the difference, like even though my grandparents brought me up, I only met my father 8 years ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that's been my been one of my nemesis. I'm the only dark one in my family.
Oh, wow.
Only dark one. I always thought I'd look different, but now that I've gotten older, I actually do look like my aunties.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I always felt different. I felt some of my cousins treated me differently. Yeah, so I was like always wanting to know, and now I know.
And your mum, your birth mum?
My mum, she's good. She lives with us.
Oh, cool. So you know to really reconnect that relationship.
I wouldn't say we've got a strong relationship.
But she lives with you.
She lives with me. So she's always said, when some people ask, oh, who's that? Oh, that's my little sister.
Oh, no.
I know.
I guess she's only 17 years older than you.
Yeah, I get it. And that's okay. So I've grown up. I used to not like that. I used to get quite hoa with her when she said that. Wow. But now I'm like, well, actually, because I have a couple of cousins who she's helped bring up since they were young.
Oh.
Yeah. That's okay. And I love that for her.
Yeah.
So I said, yeah, this is your daughter, and I'm okay with that. You know, and yeah, little sister, okay, if that's how it's going to be. But I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Yep. I understand, you know, all the different dynamics my life has, and I'm okay with all of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just want to mihi to you and your mum, because to find a way forward for the both of you to, while it may not be perfect and it might not be the mother-daughter relationship that I know you would have wanted when you were a kid, like I just mihi you for having the strength to still have that relationship with her.
She's an amazing grandmother, an amazing great-grandmother, and I couldn't wish for a better person to take that role. And she's doing amazing. Not very great as a mother to me, but amazing to my cousins.
Or was she ever given the chance?
No, she wasn't.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like,
so she's used that nurturing and shared it with my little sisters and my cousins. Yeah. So all good. I'm all good with that. Yeah.
I love that. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you for having me, and I do hope if there are anyone out there who needs some support, we are here. And your local Māori.
Just find a Māori.
Don't be afraid to knock on the door, your local Māori. Otherwise, give us a call.
I'm sorry, and you just suggested like find a Māori, any Māori, and ask them?
Well, you know a safe Māori, you know.
Find a safe Māori.
There's some
Māori
whare you just know you would not knock on that door. I'm including myself. But, you know, find a safe Māori. There are a lot of beautiful people out there who are happy to help. And not just Māori either.
Yeah.
Not just Māori.
And find your way home.
Find your way home.
If anything in this podcast has raised any issues for you and you need to talk, we recommend reaching out to a trusted friend or adult. Or you can call Youthline on 0800 376 633 to get more support. Or if you're in crisis, please call 111. Remember, there is no shame in asking for help. Next week on Whakarongo, we talk to another care experienced rangatahi, Ihorangi Rewiti Peters, about the promise of safety and stability. And don't forget to subscribe to the podcast on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts, and be a part of a movement that advocates for change, one story at a time.